So it's sort of a general advisory committee in a way to Shali and the program, because it's sort of our signatures are on the grant to make sure that it works right. And then different people have been more involved in different aspects. That has been about all I've done, but you've done more with the mentoring.
Right. So different people from our library have signed on to serve as mentors to any of the students that were interested in talking to us about careers and what have you. So far, really have mentored Ingrid and Jen, and kind of informally with some of the other students when we've had gatherings. But I'm certainly, and I'm sure all of us are open to anyone who wants to just call us up and talk about what we do. Actually, I've had interactions with students via email about my specific job roles, and then career advice and things.
What did you tell them?
Well, this
We never know what it is she is actually doing from day to day. So
this was when I was still collection development,
Okay.
and I answered a question about that.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah. So Ingrid did a combination of things. She had a very strong public service interest, so we got her involved in working with the librarians at the information desk. She also helped us with some of our LibGuides. She wanted to do some instruction, but it didn't work out with her schedule. So then she also wanted to get some archives experience. So she worked with our archivist, Katie Nash, on a collection of scrapbooks that we have and getting them preserved. She actually helped us get a grant to pay for materials for preserving our scrapbooks. And then she helped us with some media from our TV services. We had some DVDs and things that needed to be organized and labeled, so she helped us with those. So she's had both public and archival experience. And then Jen actually came to us because we have a 17th century, what we call a chant book, I guess you call it a missal, and it's in Latin. So she was so excited to translate that for us. In the meanwhile, we have a Civil War collection that needed to be organized and processed. So she spent most of her time actually working on the Civil War collection, and she'll be back with us in the fall to focus solely on the chant book.
yeah, her primary interest is in special collections and archives and rare books. So she really already knew what she wanted to do. And then Ingrid did that project with the Borrow a Library. What was that called?
So Ingrid introduced us to the idea of the human library.
That's it, human library.
Which was, so I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's a project where people represent different issues, societal issues, topics, frequently talked about topics. Professions or experiences, and they kind of stand in as the book, the expert that people come to the library to open and have a discussion with to learn more about that topic or profession or what have you. And so we worked with different offices on campus to see how we could make that happen. And unfortunately, her internship time ran out before we were able to put it together, but we still have the proposal. So hopefully at a future, in the future, we'll be able to do that here in our library, hopefully more than once.
It's been fun having two both very competent and interesting but very different interns. One being out there, extroverted, hard to keep up with, and the other being have a more scholarly bent. It's just been very interesting and much fun, and greatly to Elon's benefit. Well, I would say it's probably one of two things. It's either the networking, because it's a cohort program, so you're going to make friends for life, and there are many, I know the program goes out of its way to introduce the A Scholars to lots of different types of libraries and librarians and conferences, and so the networking, which is hard to get when you're just a library school student, that's a real plus. And then an in-depth internship is a real plus too, because without that, you're probably not going to be competitive for a job in today's market.
For the A Scholars now, I would say to them, stay connected to each other and to your professors, your internship site supervisors, because those are lasting relationships. You can always call, email people when you're looking for a job or you're in a job and you have questions, you need advice, guidance. Support is so very important in any profession, but especially in librarianship, because you just never know when you're going to see people again. And there's always opportunities for collaborations at conferences and writing papers and things like that. And for future A Scholars, I would say the library world is changing, the profession is changing, but it is a great profession to be in. It is an honor to say that you're a librarian, and it is not it's not what people typically think it is. So
Right.
If you have any reservations about, I don't know if this is a good career or not, it is. So jump in, talk to people who do it, and they'll tell you how good and rewarding this career field is. And ask questions, don't hesitate to get involved, volunteer, ask questions. Visit as many libraries as you can, visit different kinds of libraries so you can get a feel for what fits for you. But I think those would be my main points of advice to offer.
Well, that would be hard to beat, because she pretty well said it, but I would add two things. One would be not to write off any one type of library.
Right.
And allow yourself to be pigeonholed, either pigeonhole yourself or be pigeonholed that there are great jobs in public libraries, there are great jobs in community college libraries, and there are bad jobs in all those areas too. So, I would really, government libraries, business libraries, the woman that just retired from being the state librarian of North Carolina spent 20 years being a librarian for the State Department and was the librarian, often the only librarian, in embassies all over the world. I mean, there are lots of great jobs around.